There are machines that didn't just win battles. They changed the very logic of war. After their appearance, militaries around the world sat down and rewrote their manuals, retrained soldiers, restructured armies. Today, 6 such tanks. Each of them is not just a good machine, each is a breaking point. Before it, war looked one way. After, completely different. Watch until the end. The last of the 6 overturned the very concept of what is more important, armor or crew survival. And its lessons are being applied right now. Let's go. Number 1. British Mark I, 1916. When the tank first appeared, and no one knew what to do with it, September 15th, 1916, the Battle of the Somme. Out of the morning mist, something crept onto the German trenches that had no name. A rhomboid steel hull, 8 meters long, almost 2.5 meters high. It rolled over trenches, crushed barbed wire. Machine gun bursts bounced off its sides. German soldiers fled, because they didn't know what it was. Mark I weighed 28 tons. Engine, 105 horsepower. Speed, 6 kilometers per hour. Inside, 8 people in a hell of exhaust gases and temperatures under 50 degrees. Armor, 12 millimeters. It could be pierced by an armor-piercing bullet from close range. Technically, it was an imperfect machine. Of the 49 that went to the front that day, 17 broke down before the battle began. Another 5 got stuck in the mud. But those that reached the German positions captured several villages in a few hours. Without these machines, the same thing would have cost thousands of infantry lives. What exactly did the Mark I change? It proved a machine can do what a human cannot. Walk under machine gun fire. Crush obstacles. Not stop. Militaries around the world immediately began building their own tanks. By the end of the First World War, there were already thousands of them. Before Mark I, infantry walked into machine guns and died in waves. After, the idea appeared that armor could go ahead of people. Moral: sometimes the most important thing is not how well the machine works, but that it exists at all, and the enemy does not know how to fight it. Number 2. T-34, USSR. The tank that rewrote all German textbooks in one day. June 22nd, 1941. Operation Barbarossa. German tank columns break into the Soviet Union. They are used to light resistance. Poland, France, Greece. Enemy tanks are either weaker or slower. And then they encounter the T-34. Anti-tank guns of 37mm caliber, the Wehrmacht standard at that time, hit the frontal armor. Shells ricochet. Sloped armor at a 60-degree angle deflects them to the sides. German commanders report upstairs, "We have no weapon capable of penetrating this tank in the forehead from a normal distance." The Germans were forced to urgently bring forward 88mm anti-aircraft guns for direct fire, to use anti-aircraft guns against tanks. This was not a plan. This was an improvisation born of desperation. T-34 weighed 30 tons. Frontal hull armor, 45mm at an angle. The 76.2mm gun penetrated any German tank of that time at real combat distances. Speed, 55 kilometers per hour on the highway. Diesel engine, less fire hazardous than a gasoline one. But the main thing is not the technical characteristics. The main thing is production. During the war, the Soviet Union produced more than 57,000 T-34 tanks of various modifications. Germany throughout the war, about 8,500 Panzer IVs. That's a 7-to-1 ratio. German engineers studied the captured T-34s and immediately began creating the Panther, using sloped armor as the main idea. The best German tank of the middle of the war was a direct response to the Soviet T-34. What exactly did the T-34 change? It proved sloped armor is more effective than vertical armor of the same thickness. This became the standard for all post-war tanks in the world. Every modern tank, M1 Abrams, Leopard 2, T-90, carries this principle. Moral: a revolutionary idea at the right moment is more valuable than any superiority in training and experience. Number 3. Panzerkampfwagen 5, Panther, Germany. An answer that itself became a question. 1943. Germany studied the T-34 and created its answer. The Panther, Panzerkampfwagen 5, became one of the best tanks of World War II. And at the same time, an example of how a right idea can turn into a problem. The armor is sloped, taken from the T-34. The front of the hull is 80 mm at a 55-degree angle, effective protection at the level of 140 mm of vertical armor. The 75 mm KWK-42 long-barrel L/70 gun penetrated Soviet tanks at distances over 1,500 meters. Speed: 46 kilometers per hour. On paper, an ideal machine. On the battlefield, regular engine and transmission breakdowns in the first months of production. Produced in such a hurry that assembly quality suffered. At the Battle of Kursk in July 1943, many Panthers failed even before entering battle. Engines caught fire due to manufacturing defects. About 6,000 units were produced from 1943 to 1945. But it was the Panther that set the standard for post-war tank development. The combination of a powerful long-barrel gun with sloped armor and relatively high speed is a formula that everyone repeated. After the war, the Americans studied the Panther when creating the M48 and M60. Soviet designers when creating the T-54. German ones when creating the Leopard. What exactly did the Panther change? It proved a medium tank with a powerful gun and sloped armor is better than a heavy tank with thick vertical armor. Heavy tanks gradually disappeared after the war. The main battle tank, the successor to the Panther, took their place. Moral: a machine that loses a war can win the next 50 years of tank building. Write right now in the comments, which of the first 3 tanks seems the most revolutionary to you? Mark 1, which just appeared. T-34, which rewrote German textbooks, or the Panther, which set the standard for half a century. Number 4. M1 Abrams, United States. When the computer became more important than armor, 1980. The United States adopts the M1 Abrams, and it immediately becomes clear, this is not just a new tank, this is a different philosophy. Before the M1, a tank battle looked like this. Whoever saw first, shot first. Whoever shot first, won. The main question was the speed of target detection by the human eye. The M1 Abrams put a computer between the gunner's eye and the shot. The AN/VVG-2 fire control system with a laser rangefinder. Thermal imaging sight, sees targets at night and in smoke at ranges up to 3,000 meters. The ballistic computer automatically calculates corrections for distance, target speed, air temperature, barrel wear. The gunner only has to aim the reticle and press the button. Engine: an Avco Lycoming AGT-1500 gas turbine with a capacity of 1,500 horsepower. Weight: about 54 tons. Speed: 67 kilometers per hour. Armor: multi-layer composite Chobham type. The composition is still classified. The First Gulf War, 1991. 100 hours of ground operation. The M1 Abrams destroyed more than 3,000 Iraqi tanks, Soviet T-55s, T-62s, and T-72s. Own losses from enemy fire: 0. Not a single M1 Abrams was lost to Iraqi fire. A few received damage from friendly fire. What exactly did the M1 change? It shifted the decisive advantage in tank combat from the physical sphere, armor thickness, gun caliber, to the informational one. Whoever sees first, whoever processes information faster, wins. All modern tanks are now built around this philosophy. Moral: in modern combat, it's not the one with the thicker armor who wins. It's the one with the better computer. Number 5. Leopard 2. Germany, the tank that became the NATO standard. 1979. West Germany adopts the Leopard 2. Development took almost 20 years. The Germans wanted to do everything right. Mass, about 62 tons. The Rheinmetall 120mm smoothbore gun, the same as on the M1 Abrams. This is not a coincidence. The Allies specifically unified ammunition. Armor, multi-layer composite. Engine, MTU-MB 873, 1,500 horsepower. Speed, 72 kilometers per hour. But the main thing about Leopard 2 is not the numbers. The main thing is what NATO did with it. Germany exported Leopard 2 to 18 countries: the Netherlands, Sweden, Finland, Poland, Norway, Spain, Greece, Turkey, Canada, Chile, Switzerland. This is the most widespread Western main battle tank in the world. For a military alliance, this meant soldiers of different NATO countries can fight side by side because their tanks use the same shells, the same spare parts, the same technical standards. The logistics of war are simplified dramatically. What exactly did the Leopard 2 change? It proved that unification is just as much of a weapon as armor and a gun. Allies with the same equipment fight more effectively than allies with different equipment. Moral: the best tank is not always the most powerful. Sometimes the best is the one that the most armies can use at the same time. Number 6. Merkava, Israel. When the people inside became the most important thing, not the armor. 1979. Israel adopts a tank of its own design, Merkava. And at first glance, it is clear. This machine is built differently. In all other tanks, the engine is in the back. In the Merkava, it's in the front. This looks strange, but there is a specific philosophy behind it. General Israel Tal, the chief designer of the program, lost too many people in Israel's wars. He decided, the main task of a tank is not to kill as many enemies as possible. The main task is for the crew to return home alive. The engine in the front is additional protection for the crew in a frontal hit. In the back, a large hatch. Through it, the wounded can be quickly evacuated. Through it, infantry can also be transported. The Merkava is capable of carrying up to 6 soldiers in the troop compartment. The mass of the Mark I was 63 tons. Gun, 105 mm rifled. In 1982 in Lebanon, the Merkava Mark I fought against Syrian T-72s. 50 machines were hit, but only 7 were irreparably lost. 9 crew members died, despite 50 machines taking hits. Usual statistics of that time. When armor is penetrated, an average of 2 people die in the crew. In the Merkava, less than 1. Because the front engine absorbed part of the shell's energy before the fragments reached the people. Today, the Merkava Mark IV Barak has trophy active protection, a system that detects an incoming rocket and destroys it with an interceptor while still in the air. This is the next level. Not just to withstand a hit, but to prevent it entirely. What exactly did the Merkava change? It put crew survivability above all other priorities and proved that this is not a weakness, but a strength. After the Merkava, the concept of crew is more important than the machine became central in modern tank building. Moral: the most revolutionary question you can ask when creating a weapon is not how to kill more enemies, but how to save more of our own. 6 tanks. 6 moments when the tactics of war changed forever. Mark I proved that a machine can go where a human cannot. The T-34 showed that sloped armor changes everything. The Panther set the standard for the main battle tank for half a century ahead. The M1 Abrams shifted victory into the informational sphere. Leopard 2 proved that unification is also a weapon. Merkava put the life of the crew above everything else. What do all 6 have in common? None of them won simply because it was more powerful than the previous one. Each won because it changed the very logic of the question. Asked not how to make the same thing better, but What if we do something completely different? It is this question that changes wars, not calibers and not millimeters of armor. Write in the comments, which of the 6 changed war the most in your opinion? And subscribe. There are many more stories ahead about technology that rewrote the rules.